Oh, here he is, Damo. Actually, decent round of footy, which it didn't look like on paper.
Yeah, it was, Jim, and we needed it, didn't we? Because I'd say the last third, maybe even the last half of this home and away season has been rather lacklustre for a number of reasons. The top 9 teams had established that dominance, but it delivered on the Sunday, didn't it? And it's still weird to be talking about it in this manner, knowing there's still one match remaining to fully complete it, that being the Essendon Gold Coast game, the overhang game from opening round. No one I'm speaking to expects there to be any chance given to the Bombers. But until they play it, we don't know. We just don't know, do we? But no, you're right.
It's also how much. I mean, that's the thing now, isn't it? It's a 5-goal spread.
So what could happen then, Jim?
Well, if they win by more than 5 goals, they will go to Perth to meet Freo. If they win by less than 5 goals, they'll go to GWS to take on the Giants. If they lose, then the Western Bulldogs play against Freo. Against the Giants.
At less than 30 points, the Giants play the Suns in a final. Oh, yeah.
That's not ideal from a money AFL remuneration point of view, Purple.
No, it doesn't fit the blockbuster status, does it? I wouldn't have thought on that particular game.
They'd have to be happy because they got finals everywhere throughout Australia, haven't they?
Yeah, from that aspect, they will be happy, And they've obviously, as you have already outlined, Bill, the Adelaide-Collingwood game on the Thursday, the Geelong-Brisbane Lions game on the Friday. That's what we know to this point in time. So we got to the Sunday, and I know you were there in Brisbane, Jim, and that was a good game of footy. Now, 11 goals, 23 is not a scoreline that Chris Fagan is going to be all that happy with, but I think everything bar the actual missing of goals was how he would have liked it. It was a good performance, wasn't it? Given they were banged up with availability. I know the Hawks had their own issues with no Will Day, no Josh Weddle, but to think that there was no Lockie Neal, Jared Berry, Eric Hipwood. Now, they all should come back in at some stage of September. Payne, Coleman, Ainsworth already out.
Payne's very important.
Payne's very important, But they just found a way, as they have
and some
regularly.
Young kids do some good things.
Sam Marshall looks good, doesn't he?
And Wilmot has grown.
Darcy Wilmot, yeah.
He was a good player.
He became a star last year, I reckon, Bill. In the contextual way of a young player having good effect in a September series. And he's got some tricks, doesn't he? He's got some pace.
Well, he takes the kick-outs and away he goes. Can't catch him.
Yeah.
Was there any reason for the bad kicking, Jim?
No, it was perfect. There was not a breath of wind. Hodgie said there was a bit of dew on the ground, but there always is up there. No, there was no reason. And it was to the right of screen, and it was just infectious.
Yeah.
Everyone was missing.
They had their moments in this space last year, Jim, didn't they, the Lions? And they ultimately then got to September, and it didn't matter. And that's what they'll be hoping to be the case again this year. But you do leave yourselves open, don't you? I mean, the 10-point margin was the 10 actual behinds more than they that they kicked over the Hawks. I really hope that what McCluggage did yesterday, Bill, will be enough to formally have him in the All-Australian this Thursday.
Purple.
Surely. I reckon he could have been worst on ground last night, and he might have still done enough. But hopefully, just franking the entire season the way he did, I thought he was as crucial as anyone.
Never been in?
No. He's been in extended squads.
Wow.
But never been in.
He's a good player.
He's a really good player. Yeah, really good player. So they've just found a way, haven't they? They get now to the completion of the home and away season. They've got their double chance. It's arguably Chris Fagan, and he said this himself, almost his finest home and away season moment in its totality. And we just remind everyone, last year they had to get through to the grand final, which they won via the elimination rounds from week 1 in the finals. They've got the luxury of a double chance this year.
Well, they have. Well done to Freo.
Yeah, that was a fantastic game from them, and the 8 goals that they kicked in a row after quarter time, it was blistering football. It was getting away from them in that first quarter, and they needed the siren to go. It did, and they then resumed after it. And look, I don't think anyone had their best game of the year for the Dockers, but what they did do is have a lot of good quality players stepping up for periods of time. I loved what Hayden Young did, Jim.
Yes.
And just because there was so much doubt about the soft tissue damage he's done basically for a season and a half now. He missed last year late. He missed most of this year already, and he's even out previous week for the same reasons. But it was a roll of the dice. It was a risk. And look, his numbers weren't massive, but I thought what he had done to half-time had actually set up the win when it's all said and done and got through.
Well, I had an interesting chat off-air with Isaac Smith on Saturday. He said, what do you reckon? And I said, mate, I'm with everyone else. I think the Dogs start pretty firm favourites. And he said the issue for the Dockers has been that they've basically played 12 elimination finals in a row. So they haven't been able to manage Sarong and Brayshaw. They've just had to keep charging.
Yep.
So I reckon this 10, 12-day break could not come at a better time for Freo.
And
those two were very quiet early. They were both very good in the second half, I thought, but they just look like they need a nice little spell, Fremantle.
Yeah. And again, I think you've summarised what they did really well too. They weren't at their absolute best, but they did more than enough in the context of the game. And then the three big forwards all kicking three goals.
How good.
Dick
Tracy.
Yeah.
Dick Tracy, some of those grabs even up the ground.
Yep.
Very, very important. Amos did not miss.
Yep.
And then
Patrick Voss came into it.
What about Vossi?
Oh, geez, you'd like to punch him sometimes.
How good? What about when he gives it this business after? I just love it.
Yeah.
I reckon he is a cult hero.
Oh, bloody oath.
He's got layers to the celebrations.
And he's playing good footy.
He could have pinged a hammy on one of those celebrations at one stage. And the chest goes out and the big, heavy breathing, which he does very deliberately.
Gives him energy,
yeah,
doesn't it?
And to get 3 goals out of all of those 3, and then to get another 2 out of Luke Jackson, who I feel should be, Bill, as I've said a few times now, the backup ruck in the All-Australian team too. I just think he's had a fantastic year. To Max Gawn.
And keep going, Murphy Reid.
What a star he is.
Can he win the Rising Star?
I think he should, yeah. Now, again, people have got their set views on Levi Ashcroft, and I get that. They've also got their set views on Dan Curtin. I get that. Harvey Langford's had a really good year. Your man, Archie Roberts, Jim, I think, had a really good year for a low team at Essendon. But I think it's down to those 3, and I feel for 6 or 8 weeks now, it probably, in my eyes, that Murphy Reid is the one. We won't know until Brownlow night. They've moved that the Rising Star Awards away from the Thursday night awards this particular year.
Because that's on a Thursday night, All Australian, isn't it? Yeah. And they've got the Legends game.
It's the same night, isn't it?
Same night.
Actually, I didn't think of that when they did that.
Come on, Hutchie. What are you doing?
Hutchie's pumping that game up, isn't he? Collingwood, I know it was only against Melbourne, but they needed a win. They now close their season with 5 losses out of the final 7 games of the year, and the wins came against Melbourne and Richmond. But there was a lot to like, or there's at least some things to like about the losses they had in that stretch against good teams. And they now obviously get to play Adelaide again very quickly, or very soon after they only recently lost to them. So I think a lot of the general focus is going to go on that Thursday night qualifying final when they get there. They're going to be without Jeremy Howe again, Jim. We know that's a major issue, and they need to do something, I think, quite radical on that regard, whether it's just to commit to Dan McStay playing that role or whoever it is going to be, whoever they identify. But they cannot, I don't feel anyway, go in with just Frampton and Moore. It's not working, Bill.
No, it's not. But they have got
Especially
Jordan De
against a
Goey.
3-headed monster.
Yeah, exactly.
Taking on Adelaide, they're going to need some help back there, Fat.
It's going to be hostile, isn't it? It's that crowd always is, and particularly with what happened in the most recent
Collingwood
game.
love this. They love travelling.
Yeah,
they love the backs to the wall. And Jordan De Goey's actually playing some good time to play good footy.
Best game since early in the year, wasn't it? Yeah, and the extended period of time he had out, and the even equally long rehab they gave him when his body was right again, but they just absolutely smashed the work into him. And yeah, with another week off now, he's been back for 3 weeks, Bill. I think it's a good chance for him to show what he has got. Toby Greene, not for the first time. In fact, for the maybe 4th, dozenth time, he stood up when his team, the Giants, needed him to, didn't he? Particularly late. He took those 2 big marks in the final 90 seconds. He missed the goal from the first of the 2 to which I refer, but then just went and rectified that by taking a big mark from the subsequent play against the St Kilda club, which was okay. So, yeah, they're looking okay. I can't get a proper read on Jack Buckley. He was left out again for another leg injury, but the talk is that Stringer is good to go. The talk, as far as I knew it to be a couple of hours ago, Brent Daniels got through a hit out in the VFL.
And Jesse Hogan's
should be right. Jesse Hogan, I feel they're going to play him, Bill, but I just
he's not
worry
right,
about
is
him.
he?
He's not right. No, that's the problem. He might be going at 65%, but I think if he can get him out there and do no further damage, you probably roll the dice on it, don't you? The emotion attached to the just continuing the positives to the Kenny Hinkley and Travis Boak farewells on Saturday night for Port Adelaide. It wrecked Gold Coast's hopes on the season, because that game we referred to on Wednesday, they'd be playing for top 4 if they managed to beat Port Adelaide. They didn't, and as such, they're just playing simply for a spot in the 8. But it's nice to see
every coach being honest, so honest. Wouldn't you love that? I'd love to know what Beveridge would say after the Dogs lose it, if he was honest. Luke,
what would he say, Bill?
Even Dimmer losing last weekend, what he would be if he was.
Well, Dimmer blamed the umpires.
Well, but also I reckon he would have had a crack at his
What do
players.
you reckon Bevo would have said?
Bevo would have said, "You flat track bullies.
Well, I think Dimmer had half a point.
Yeah, he might.
What was the free kick count? 33-13 or something?
Yeah.
Yeah, he probably had half a point. Now, Damo, we need to take a little break.
Yes.
More positive?
We'll have one or two more positives, Jim.
Righto,
I've
good.
been positive this year. You've
I like
asked
it.
me to be, and I've
I
tried
like
to
it.
be. Yeah.
Here's old
Pick up
Happy
Purple.
himself.
Last week that Bill ran with "Who do you impersonate" as a phone topic. Did you see that?
No, I didn't.
No,
catch
it's
that.
worst ever. Like, and that's saying something.
On the
It
back
was
of
the
Nick
worst
Larkey.
Right.
ever phone topic we've ever done.
Who does you very well. We love
and
that.
Donald Trump.
And Donald
Yeah.
Trump,
Yes.
exactly. So Jim thought it'd be a good idea to go
No,
with.
so someone
Who can
rang
you
as
impersonate?
Humphrey B. Bear.
Actually, 3 people did.
And you're dubbing it the worst ever, Jim.
Oh, no, worst ever. No, it was jumping the shark. That's what it was. Now, what else are we positive about?
Just as we speak, the AFL has released earlier than normal its match review findings from the weekend, and the one that I think had most interest in a general sense was explained this way. The incident involving Fremantle's Caleb Sarong and Western Bulldogs' Jordan Croft from the fourth quarter of Sunday's match was assessed by the match review officer. It was the view of the MRO that Sarong genuinely contests the ball, and it was reasonable for him to contest the ball in that way. No further action was taken.
So a footy accident.
Footy accident, and it's funny how you come into finals and those issues just seem to be a little
Become
bit
footy
different.
accidents.
Yeah, so
That's the
we're all
right
happy.
interpretation.
I
though.
think it is too, Jim. But would it have shocked you had it been maybe someone who wasn't Caleb Sarong, and if it was round 3 that he got a week?
Well, no, nothing would shock you.
And,
Anyone else get done?
There were a couple of fines, Bill, but I don't think we need to worry about them too much.
that's all right.
Just continuing with the positives, Tom Stewart hasn't had the best of his seasons at Geelong. It hasn't been by far the worst either. But
Saturday,
I think he's had a good 3, 4,
Yes,
5, or
spot on.
6 or 7 weeks. So certainly recently, anyway.
Yes.
And he's, I think, hitting the finals
you're
the
right.
way you want him to be. Now, you could argue that it was only against Richmond that he played really nicely in on the weekend, but he's such an important player, isn't he?
he is. So what about Tom Atkins, by the way? The most tackles ever in the competition. So he's good. But Tommy Stewart, you're right. He's starting to mark again like he used to, and he's kicking beautifully, and he runs hard at it.
And he's been banged up, hasn't he, regularly
Yes,
this year? I know
knee,
it's been the
yeah.
case a lot of his career, and he's played through that regularly, but the knees seem to have troubled him this year. But unusually, Jim, they've now got the close to perfect injury list, as in
One injury.
no one is on it, almost.
Well,
Toby Conway,
Toby
who
Conway.
doesn't play.
I'll tell you
And-
what, the play of the year, do you see Ollie Dempsey against 2 Richmond blokes, the handball over his head, hit one down to the ground, then kicked it off the ground straight to Jezza? Did you see that, Damien?
No, I didn't see that
Do
bit, no.
yourself a favour and go and watch it tonight.
Okay.
It's play of the year.
I'll tell you why they have no injuries, Purple, because they have Steve Saunders, who
Yes, they
is
do, Jim.
daylight second,
Yeah.
the best operator in the game.
Well, you've always said that, Jim, and you got him involved in North Melbourne, and even before that, they had the game's greats in Chris Judd and Brendan Favola at the peak of his powers,
Absolutely.
heading across to
Johnny
Adelaide
Brown.
on their own time, and I think and Dime, and Jonathan Brown. Yeah, you're right. So,
He's the best.
I mean, you need to be that way, don't you? Given what we've talked about with Brisbane Lions already today, and GWS, what they've been
Essendon.
through, and Essendon, who's still got that game to play. Just on a couple of trade fronts, we saw West Coast confirm what we'd basically known for most of the year. Oscar Allen does want out as a free agent, and they released that
Are you
information.
surprised at the Lions?
No, not given the narrative has been that way for some time, Jim. And even though it was the Sam Mitchell meeting that he had personally that I suppose exploded this story into the general conscience, it was always the Lions who had the front
So where's
running.
he going to play? Up forward?
Well, I think now that they've actually managed to find a way, even on the weekend or last night, found a way without obviously Danaher, but also and Hipwood
And Morris. And Morris was quiet, wasn't he?
Morris was quiet last night.
yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if they contemplate throwing him down back with Harris Andrews next year.
Really?
Yeah. Well, if Jack Payne is injured again, as he might be for some time as well. So
All right, that's good. Hey, I've got a quick. Why is Isaac Rankin going to Rome or gone to Rome?
I don't have an issue with it. I can understand you asking the question.
Wouldn't you hang around with your mates and he's...
Yeah, we can't do anything for basically 5
So what's
weeks.
he do?
It's
Just
a
gets away?
Well, he gets away for, I'd imagine, a week. Just gets out of
Long
Adelaide.
way to go.
Yeah, it is. It is. I don't have an issue with it. I do have an issue with the AFL reducing it from 5 weeks to 4, as we discussed at length.
yes,
And Jim made some very pertinent and I think well-received comments on the Saturday Rub pertaining to that AFL finding. But I don't have an issue with this one. You sound like you do.
Well, I just wonder why... I know he wants to get away, but to Rome?
Yeah. Does it matter where he goes when it's all said and done?
Well,
he can't
Go
be
to
playing for
bloody
a while. And he's
down
struggling
the road
as well.
somewhere on the coast there. What's a nice place out of South Australia?
Aldinga.
Yeah, Aldinga.
Just getting his 4-wheel drive, you reckon?
Hey,
Fat,
just
and
go there.
Head down to Aldinga.
Didn't Sam Newman go there, Jim? Isn't that the
No, he did. He did a street talk nude.
nuded up? Yeah.
At Maslin's.
And they had to use the blurred sort of vision, didn't they?
Yeah, they did. And the soundo and the camo were all nude.
That's right. Yes.
Funny as.
Just moving on to the negatives from a club perspective. Again, if you wanted to be a Bulldogs and spin the season, you'd say they've had 14 wins out of the year and they're the most unlucky
no
team.
Spin, Damo. No spin.
I'm not allowing them that luxury, Bill.
Good.
Yeah, they just failed against the better team. So just
top
to remind
8
people,
side.
yeah, well, top 9, which they were part of, they only won twice out of the 9 games that they played, and it was against the same team, GWS times 2. They continually failed against the better teams. They had a 2.5 goal buffer against the Dockers yesterday, and then they conceded 8 goals in a row. They did that in last year's final against Hawthorn.
Yep.
They did it in a 2022 elimination final against the Dockers. Obviously, they conceded 16 of the last 17 goals of the bang, 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 bang grand final in 2021. So,
But
yeah,
it's disappointing.
I reckon they are too.
Because they got the 5 best players in the comp for each side. If you go, give me your 5 best players, I reckon the Dogs have got them.
You really got 5, yeah.
5 of the best.
So it's Darcy, Bontempelli.
Of the best what?
Of
20 or?
No, of each. If you go to every club and say, give us your 5 top players, and you line them all up, I reckon the Dogs have got the 5 best.
Well, you're going to say Bont and Darcy. You're going to put Richards in there too,
Put Richards in there.
Yeah.
Even who kicked the goals? Bloody Norton this year. This is this year.
Yeah.
And then also Libba. You put Libba in there.
Yeah. And Bailey Dale off the halfback flank, who I expect to be All-Australian again. So
they've had some real...
I think they fall away, though. And ultimately, they don't,
backline.
Jim, I feel, would know anything more today, having missed the finals, than they did 3 months ago when they recontracted Luke Beveridge. And I was supportive of that. And look, they'll live with that decision. But they held out, made the decision on the run in the year in which he came out of contract, knowing that they wanted to do it under that circumstance. But to miss finals from that moment, I think it's a really disappointing outcome for them.
Yeah, he would say they get scored against way too easily. They score themselves very heavily, which is good, but they can't stop being scored against. So he's got summer to work that out for sure.
Yeah, he does. We mentioned Gold Coast and just the mindset element to it, Bill, with regards to now losing to Port Adelaide in round 23, 24, GWS in round 23. The mindset of now just needing to win this game to get in for the first time in the club's history, as opposed to winning the game and finishing top 4, you just don't know what it's going to do, do you?
They'll be so nervous. The coach, everyone, the supporters, the players. But they've just got to get away to a nice little start and they've just got to win. Find a way to win.
Yeah.
Like the good sides did, like the Giants did over St Kilda, like Freo did, and even Brisbane. They found a way to win against Hawthorn. Well,
They did.
The Hawks were quite good, by the way.
Yep.
Yep.
And Hawthorn, just from a losing perspective, I feel they were pretty competitive last night. And there were moments even in that last quarter where it looked like they might have been able to find a way. They didn't. They got that, I feel, unlucky free kick against Carl Amon late in the piece. I think it was just a skill error as opposed to an insufficient attempt to keep the ball in. I think you found it that way too, Jim, on the call.
Yep. It's weird.
And you do feel for them, but given that they don't have access to Will Day at all for the remainder of the year, and there's still a massive decision that they need to make over Josh Weddle, over his serious back injury. But I just feel he's such a young player and someone who's so crucial to their future that they need to be really sure. I'm not doubting what they're going to do, but hopefully they do err on the side of caution. And there's now some doubt again, isn't there, that given they subbed Mitch Lewis out for what was a leg knock from a corky, yeah. So you just don't know what that means. I know the week off should hopefully rectify that for him, and hopefully for his sake, given what he's been through, they just commit to playing him in the finals.
Well, you hear them linked with virtually every disgruntled midfielder in the comp. They have to explore that heavily. Their midfield, especially without Will Day, is very thin for me.
It was, and again, I felt that both Warple and Ward had moments last night.
No, they're not. They're good players.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is they just don't have enough in that part of the ground.
And that's what it came down to, didn't it? And it's no secret they're into Harley Reid, they're into Zach Butters, but those two guys, as we know, are contracted for next year, and it's going to be hard to wrench them out. But we also know from what they've done in recent years, they're not going to die wondering with their offers.
Right. Sammy Mitchell loves it. He loves getting involved. 2 more negatives.
Yes.
Goal kicking.
Yeah, generally speaking.
Hasn't improved in 100 years, Damien. And umpiring. And I don't want that's it. We're not
we're not umpire bashers, but
I know.
there have been some regularly confusing decisions made.
And too many decisions.
Yeah, and
Jim?
I'm not normally one to even engage in even that sentence I just said, but I'm with you, Bill. Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Now, as we let you go, Purple, if I've discussed this with you already, forgive me. Have you seen America's Team on Netflix about the Dallas Cowboys in the 90s?
No, you have flagged it with me. I was hopeful of having a look at it yesterday. The footy got in the way, rightly so, but my intent is to do so before I am on air with you again on Saturday.
It is. Once you start, you will not be able to stop.
Yeah.
It is absolutely... The Yanks do that stuff better than anyone, and it is just brilliant.
And you've almost come around to being a Cowboys supporter, I believe.
No. They're not enjoyable. No, but Troy Aikman, it is absolutely brilliant. Check it out.
And our man Neon Dion's part of it too, isn't he?
Oh, he gets there right at the end, Prime.
Prime.
On a very, very big deal too, which I loved. All right, good to see you, mate.
See you, boys.
See you, Damon.